Part 2, Prologue. Thus far, the first part, which contains all these 20 heresies and in which there is also something of the coming of Christ. Number 21, the Simonians, stem from Simon Magus, who lived in the time of the Apostle Peter and was a native of the village of Geta in Samaria. This man was of Samaritan origin and became a Christian in name only. He taught a filthy obscenity of promiscuous bodily intercourse. He rejected the resurrection and affirmed that the universe was not created by God. He furthermore gave his disciples for adoration a likeness of himself as Zeus and of the harlot named Helen, who was his companion as Athena. To the Samaritans, he said that he was the Father, while to the Jews, he said he was Christ. Number 22, the Menandrianist came from Simon through a certain Menander, but in certain things they differed from the Simonians. They said that the universe was created by angels. The Saturnalians were to be found throughout Syria. They followed the obscene doctrine of the Simonians, but they profess other things far more extraordinary. They originated with Saturnalis. With Menander, they held the universe to have been created by angels, but in accordance with the opinion of their founder, by 7 only. Number 24, the Basilidians follow the same obscene doctrine. They originate with Basilides, who with Saturnalius was a disciple both of the Simonians and of the Menandrianist. He held similar opinions, although he differs in some things. Thus he says that there are 365 heavens, and to these he assigns angelic names. It is for this reason that the year has the same number of days, and the name Abraxas, which is 365, is a holy name. Number 25, the Nicolaitans, stem from Nicholas, who was ordained to serve by the apostles. Because of jealousy for his own wife, he was motivated to teach his disciples the practice of immorality with others. He also introduced to the world the doctrine of Caulicia, Pernicius, or Perniscus, and other barbaric names. Number 26, the Gnostics succeeded to the foregoing heresies, but were more insanely given to the practice of immorality than all of these others. In Egypt, they are called Stroitoitics and Phibionites, while in the upper regions, they are called Socratites, and in still other places, Zanchians, while others call them Cadians, while still others call them Borborites. These make much of Barbello and Barrow. The Carpocratians originated with a certain Carpocrates, who was an Asiatic. He taught the practice of every sort of immorality and the cultivation of every kind of sin, unless, he said, one pass through everything and do the will of all the demons and angels, he cannot attain the highest heaven or pass beyond the principalities and the powers. He furthermore said that Jesus had assumed an intellectual soul, and while he had come to know the things above, then he proclaimed them. And he said that should one do such things as Jesus had done, then one would be the same as he. Like the heresies originating with Simon and the others thus far treated, he repudiated both the law and the resurrection of the dead. The Marcellina, who was at Rome, became a disciple of his, or the Marcellina, who was at Rome, became a disciple of his. He furthermore secretly used to make images of Jesus, Paul, Homer, and Pythagoras, and to burn incense before them and worship them. Number 28, the Cerinthians, who are also called Marinthians, originated with Cerinthus and Marinthus. They were certain Jews who made much of the circumcision and who said that the universe was created by the angels and that Jesus attained to the name of Christ by degrees. Number 29. The Nazarenes confess Jesus Christ to be the Son of God, but live in all things according to the law. Number 30. The Ebionites closely resemble the aforementioned Cerinthians and Nazarenes. In some respect, the heresy of our Sampsaians and Helcasians approaches theirs. They assert that Christ and the Holy Ghost were created in heaven and that Christ came to dwell in Adam, then for a time put him off and finally put him on again. They say that he did this in his coming in the flesh. Although they are Jews, they use the Gospels. The eating of meat they hold in abomination. They hold water to be in the place of God. They furthermore hold, as I have said, that Christ put on man in his coming in the flesh. They bathe in water constantly, both summer and winter, reputedly for the sake of purification, as do the Samaritans. Number 31, the Valentinians reject the resurrection of the flesh. They furthermore set the Old Testament aside, although they do accept the prophets and whatsoever else is susceptible of an allegorical interpretation resembling their own heresy. They introduce certain strange myths stating or saying that there are 30 names of aeons, and that these, whom they consider to be both gods and aeons, were begotten bisexual by the Father of the universe. And they say that Christ brought his body from heaven and passed through Mary as through a channel. Number 32, the Secundians, who were joined by Epiphanes and Isidore, being like-minded with Valentinus, having the same syzyges or syzyges. To some extent, however, they detail other things which the Valentinians do not. They also forbade the use of flesh meat.